，SB 没有选择左侧，是从右侧过来
直接找到了艾琳，他的 Void 没有贪这个点，他甚至选就愿意去往后退，然后引诱
这一个树这边的话，后手又来了一个引力乱流，直接抬起来 ，Chara 已经被击杀掉 ，Chrome 被摔下来也是被补掉。
那恐怕是没有太多的办法，大概率不会给到别人，极速给到点1号秒杀到风里，有一个火箭弹幕直接一波全部 kill。
Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. After a long little break there, but we have to get the players ready because it is time for the grand final of the Countdown Cup. And here we go. Kilios and Wolf jumping on to bring you guys the action. And we have some teams, one that we, had pretty much highly anticipated here, Wolf, in the Shanghai Dragons.
Yeah.
But the Hangzhou Spark have made it to the grand final, taking down the Chengdu Hunters in a pretty big upset.
Yeah, it was a pretty big upset. It was not in a one-sided series or anything like that, but Chengdu did kind of underperform based on our expectations, but they also kind of matched Hangzhou's style and the style we're seeing from most teams. So Chengdu was actually playing the meta, especially on like Gibraltar, they're running that Tracer Sombra.
And that's where they falter.
And they ended up struggling a little bit with A-Ting. Really shocking, I think, to see this upset in particular. Hangzhou Spark getting here. We weren't sure how that series was going to go with Seoul. They had that reverse sweep. Then they kind of crushed Chengdu. So I think. Like, I have to speak the truth. I have to say the honest thing. I think most people expect this is going to be a 4-0 start, or a 4-0 series. I think most people would expect this series is going to be one side, but Hangzhou surprised us twice already. See if they can make it a third time.
Yeah, I mean, they've made it this far, so they absolutely could make this a pretty close series. I mean, putting Sashin in has been a really big boon for them, having that strong Zarya player alongside. We'll go ahead and take a look at the starting six for the Hangzhou Spark on that note, and it's exactly what we've come to anticipate here from moving forward. This has been working for them since yesterday when we saw Sashin subbed in during the quarterfinal, allowed them to get that victory yesterday, and now it's enabling them further. Sashin's been looking incredible so far.
Yeah, and Mika's kind of solidified himself as the starting main support here for the Hangzhou Spark over IDK, so he's kind of been a staple of the roster as of late. It used to be kind of Mercy only, because IDK is not as versed on the hero. IDK, you think of him almost synonymously with Lucio. Mika can play Lucio, but he can play a lot of a wider variety of heroes as well, including a really good Moira. So no shockers here. And if you go to the Shanghai Dragons side of things, in terms of their starting six, you'll find the same is true. No surprises. It's Luffy over Izayaki, which has been true as of late. But besides that, everything you expect to see. No stand one, and a starting DPS is Fleta and Lip.
Yeah, which is, the Luffy thing is, worth talking about a little bit further. I mean, we had seen him subbed in before, but that was when Lee Jae-gon was under the weather. So now we have Luffy coming in over Izayaki. It does, bring up the question of where is Izayaki, what's going on there. Might just be that Luffy has been outperforming him and it has been meshing better in a no-hero pool meta with the rest of the team. That's what I would think, but interesting to see, though. But Luffy has still been playing phenomenally with the rest of the team.
Yeah, he really has. And I think that it's something that really shocked us at the beginning when he was starting to be subbed in more and more often. And obviously he was kind of pushed into a few different roles with Lee Jae-gon being ill for a while. But now Lee Jae-gon's obviously back to full health. But yeah, he's been performing well. And I do think that, I think he slots in well. And I like his playstyle personally more than Izayaki's. I think he's safer. I think he gels with the very aggressive style that Shanghai plays because he's so good at keeping the DPSs alive, which is so critical with how, especially Lip plays on the Sombra, how he's always looking for those backline hacks. Very risky player. You need somebody who's down to safely protect those DPSs and the tanks, of course.
Yeah, and it just... front to back, Shanghai looking dominant. NYXL couldn't really hold a candle to him at all. So, some great moments for, individually for the side of New York. Hawksall, building up a Blizzard in probably record time. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a Blizzard built quite as fast as he had that one on Kings Row. But, just couldn't find enough impact, couldn't get enough picks to even come close to taking down Shanghai.
Yeah.
So two fairly fast series, barring the tech issues that we had there for the Hangzhou Spark in the last one. But if you remove that, we would be starting a lot earlier than we currently are.
Sure.
There's very, very fast sets. So I'm hoping that does lead to a very close final here. Maybe go.
Yeah, I hope I'm wrong.
You know?
I think you know, this is like one of the unlikely finals I think that everybody didn't see coming, that we could have had. Like, most people assumed Chengdu massive favorites coming into that series with the Spark, with how they've been playing as of late. You know, there was a chance that we saw Seoul tear through and beat Hangzhou as well, then come up here and we had that rematch from back in May, the May Melee. We've had so many tournaments now. But it didn't happen that way, and then, you know, we had the reverse sweep into an upset win. So, like I said, maybe this will be third time's the charm for Hangzhou Spark to surprise us again. One of the big standouts for me, as we head into our first map of Oasis, our control map, one of the big standouts for me was that Fleta, who's, I think, his weak link, even though I personally think he's the front runner for MVP, I think he's perhaps the best individual player in the world right now. One of his weak links was his Genji sometimes, and Shanghai avoided running Genji. But then against New York, they ran a lot of Genji, forced Haksal off the mirror, oftentimes onto that Mei that you were just talking about.
Yeah.
So that's a big statement against one of our strongest Genji players in Asia and in the world. So that's one of those weak points for Shanghai that feels like it's gone now. You know, you're no longer worried about the Genji. So that's terrifying.
Yeah, Fleta looking really clean in that series. We'll see if he can carry that momentum forward and have a similarly impactful performance now versus the Hangzhou Spark, because Architect as well has been looking very good. Managed to pick up that player of the match in their set there versus the Chengdu Hunters, and he's going to be gunning for a second one, trying to get that back-to-back. Actually be 3 in a row for a series if he actually could do it, but here we go. The gate's now going to be opening as we start things off on City Center. We'll have the teleporters forward as Architect's just going to be swapping back over onto the Tracer, and we will have some mirrored compositions across the board. Godspeed getting the first hack.
That hack on the Mega is actually really important in this mirror matchup. It's going to give Winston a little bit of extra flexibility there. The Winston in this case that has the extra health pack. So that's actually a big hack.
Good more to play around with. Sachin falling low. The bubble comes in at a crucial time. They will be able to top him up with the help of Bionate there from Bebe. So does stay safe. Fearless retreats over onto the high ground, try to receive some healing. Point unlocked. Team's pressing forward as Godspeed continues to get chipped away at. Lip is just surging forward towards that EMP build. Gushue falling low. The bubble's not going to get activated soon enough, and Lee Jae-gon does manage to strike him down. Sleep Dart connects onto Lip, but it seems like no one's really going to be in a position to try to capitalize on top of that sleeping Sombra, so he will be allowed to step back up and continues to build towards that EMP now at 80% to Godspeed's 52. The point gets locked down by Shanghai Dragons, and they start this series off very strong.
Void also having that high ground in the center as Sasha's going to get staggered. Fearless chases here. Having that high ground in the center with Void meant that Hangzhou had to play really safe, which allowed Shanghai to have control of the point, so they had to kind of press the go button, and then Lee Jae-gon hits the stun, and they're just able to chain Gushue down to death, basically, with multiple follow-up damage hits. Lip has the faster EMP, obviously, in a successful fight that is going to happen, and he's so far unscouted. He's not moving around a lot, he's actually just waiting for the last possible moment to use it.
Oh, going into the stick. Architect not quite going to be able to find that. A nice little cheeky attempt, though. Doesn't find that pick that they so desperately wanted. The EMP comes in, Lip going to be slumped on the back end of it, but still manages to find a hack onto 3. And all of them getting taken lower and lower as Mika will get finished off by Fearless, who picks up a 3K for himself. Hangzhou Spark get point flipped to about 50% there, but Shanghai Dragons still maintain control.
Really nice plays here from Fleta, juking around, getting that trade on the blinks for Architect. Now he's totally fine, can take Gushue out in complete control. Hangzhou Spark are going to have this team fight coming up here with the EMP. They have that, initiation advantage, but if Fearless doesn't get hacked, he should be able to Primal. Void can grab counterwise. So this is Hangzhou's last chance, and Shanghai may just be able to outlast them here, especially because they have a rally online as well. And look at Lip, he's catching up. He's at 60%.
Yeah, he's getting close to lapping him right now. We'll see if Godspeed can have a majorly impactful EMP. Have to be wary, though, because if he doesn't get caught by that, could have... Well, he does. So I won't finish that thought. Bionet goes on with Gushue as he's going to pop the Primal Rage. That's the only managing to find the one. Fleta going to be taken down by the Primal. They get the knock here onto Fearless, trying to shove him into traffic, but it will not happen. Grab comes down from Void. They lock down Sasha and Solo. Manage to finish him off. Void continues to press forward to build up that energy. Don't get much off that last bubble. Here we are now into overtime. 99% on the board for the Shanghai Dragons. Hangzhou Spark have to tag in. The lead comes through from Gushue, but he's just so damn low. Was bionated prior to that, so couldn't get any healing before he makes his way over onto the point. So it's just made in the mincemeat here by the rest of the Shanghai Dragons, who are now doing the same to the rest of the Hangzhou Spark. Sashin's going to lob in the grab, just in, in defeat. It will be a 100-0 start for the Shanghai Dragons here.
Doesn't
in the
he
first map.
know that's going to lower his grav efficiency on Captain Planet's stats website? Actually, no, it did hit. I think it hit 1, so it's probably going to lower it too bad.
Yeah, he caught a couple people, but it does. If it doesn't translate into kills, then it's still going to.
His kills are going to be low for sure. So, I mean, look, Shanghai Dragons have... This is also the moment I was talking about with the stun here on Guangzhou. Look at the focus fire. It's actually insane. My first thought was maybe he got slept afterwards, he was chained, and that's why he got low. But nope, just one. Everyone focuses him down immediately. Shanghai Dragons had Void on the high ground, so Hangzhou had to make the first move, the first leap. And unfortunately, he leapt right into the hands of one of the most aggressive Brigitte players in the world, DJ Gon. Hangzhou look like they want to potentially take a page out of Chengdu's book here with the Doomfist start. And they're going to run this Reaper too.
Big differences across the board here. We have the May McCree with a Reinhardt Sigma here for the Shanghai Dragons. Lee Jae-gon going to be back over onto the Lucio, which we will see Mika running. But a Moira out, Doomfist Reaper, and then the double shield for the Orisa Sigma. So really different styles here from either team. Good punch on the Void will send him off the point, but Fearless comes up with 2, and now Lips can take down Bebe, follows up onto Guangzhou, and that will be Shanghai Dragons finishing this fight here. A little bit of an extension from Mika, but the cap coming through. So first on the board yet again.
The composition that Hangzhou is running is very all in on getting to the point and then just surviving longer than what Shanghai can do, because they're trying to zone out Lips damage, then have that self-healing, or rather the lifesteal, you could say, I guess, for the Reaper to kind of outlast. But it's tough to execute in the long term if you can't get to the point if everyone gets chunked down, chipped down by Lip.
Teleport coming through, Architect trying to make his way into the back, but the Deadeye is waiting for him. Couldn't get on top of the McCree to blow up fast enough, so Architect just falls. The Grecian will take down Mika as Flooded goes on the hunt looking for a target. Godspeed comes up with 2 kills.
Probably leave, though.
Does manage to retreat with a Wraith Walk. They have the barrier set up inside there on the side. That's why the Flux is going to be coming through from Void. Slams him back down to the ground. It does lead to Sasha being eliminated. Shanghai Dragons still do manage to hold on despite the best efforts of Godspeed.
There was a numbers disadvantage they had. They had the barrier set up like you said. I mean, Guangzhou dropped down into the hole and was able to sneak around the right side there and set that barrier up. But unfortunately, Shanghai Dragons just were they had the numbers advantage, right? Even Lip's able to kind of roll in, fan the hammer, do that extra damage. And I mean, Sasha's going to have that Flux coming up here. That's their best chance to initiate this fight. They can definitely get the better of it once they set that up. DJ God does not have sound barrier.
Punch, just going to be softening up Void as best as possible. Flux from Sasha, not going to be able to find too much. Blizzard's down, Architect lands right in the middle of it. And it's just easy targets here for Lip. He will get pulled down into the little pit here. Does get focus fired, so doesn't manage to come up with that 2K that he was looking for, but it's alright because Void still does find Guangzhou. Fearless falling lower and lower, will get hosed down by Baby with the Coalescence. It's 90% now on the board for the Shanghai Dragons. As Blossom comes out, we'll find the enemy Baptiste, and Void's got nowhere to go, so the Hangzhou Spark finally look like they found some legs to stand on, and will be able to get on the board for the first time in Oasis.
And they have, Supercharger. Sasha got halfway to another Flux, so they're not too up behind in that regard. I think this is a pretty good situation for Hangzhou Spark. They can definitely turn this around if they can win this upcoming team fight, while the Shanghai Dragons struggle to make that point presence happen. They can control the choke and play aggressive. I love this, what we're seeing from Hangzhou here.
They need it to work. That's a good pick. They give it to Lee Jae-gon. Meteor Strike now going to be coming up from Architect as he has to try to exit. Lands on top of the shield. Shatter going to be dropped in. Does clip Bebe. But Fire Strike is not enough to finish him off. He's got a sliver of HP. They'll be able to stand back up. Hangzhou Spark, though, they take a bit of a beating, so do have to heal back a bit. Now the Flux comes in, catches 3 from around the corner, and Guangzhou, instant headshots come through. They take him down. Looking for the kill on the Sasha, but Bebe has built up yet another Coalescence. Does manage to help keep that Sigma sustained. Deadeye just going to be on the hunt. Dip around the corner there from Bebe. He is in time to keep himself safe, but Shanghai Dragons occupy the point long enough to get the flip. Now it's back into OT, and already 2 kills coming through means that it's not looking great for the Hangzhou Spark. Might just be map 1 out of the way very quickly. Flux comes in, but they need some follow-up on the backside of this, but the Immortality field is there from Luffy to keep everybody alive. Flashbang in, gets the kill onto Bebe. Sashin will fall, the last one here really on the points. Guangzhou's got no HP, will get pushed out. And it will, in fact, be a 2-0 start on Oasis for the Shanghai Dragons, kicking this grand finals off in with a bang. It's going straight into top gear and not backing down.
That was really good play overall from the Shanghai Dragons. They won a lot of fights that they had really no reason to win. Like, they were down on ultimates, they were down on players. Some people were dead in these fights. I think a lot of it came down to Lips straight up headshot accuracy. There were moments where Guxue looked like there's no way Guxue can die, right? He's got so much armor, he's got healing on top of him coming from a Moira and a Lucio. And then Lip is just shooting him in the face repeatedly over and over and over again. He's just bursting him down with so much damage with insane accuracy. I mean, we know McCree obviously is going to do a lot to an Orisa that doesn't have barrier at range, but he was playing forward and aggressive and hitting like these point-blank headshots when Fan the Hammer was on cooldown. And just getting that extra burst damage through with accuracy. Because without that, if he's hitting body shots only, a lot of these fights go differently because Guxue survives through the damage, ends up killing Lip. You see the whole thing turn around with the Reaper lifesteal and all the extra healing they have from the Moira, the coalescences they have. Lip's accuracy made a huge difference. His Deadeye kill onto Architect when he had the Doomfist out, another great moment for him where he predicted the dive in, already had the skull tick up before he even arrived. Really smart plays coming through from Lip throughout that second round there.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's just been cracked as of late. He's improved his EMP accuracy. He's constantly getting, at least 4+ people typically in his EMPs. That was one of his weakest things, and his aim has always been absolutely insane, and he just continues to keep showing that off. We have Numbani coming up for our second map for Hybrid, so stay tuned, guys, because that's going to be coming up next. It's Hangzhou's map pick, and we'll see if they can get a tie on there when we return in just a few.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. The Overwatch League is brought to you by HyperX. Unleash your style, unleash your fury, with HyperX Fury Memory. And by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
All right, we are back, and we're just one map into this grand final here, the Countdown Cup. Shanghai Dragons starting things off very strongly, a 2-0 victory on Oasis, and now the Hangzhou Spark on the back foot out the gate.
Insane plays from Lip. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's got for us for the rest of this series. Yeah. Right now, for Hangzhou Spark, they put up a decent fight. Like, it wasn't an extremely one-sided map of control by any means. And I appreciate that they tried a different style of play, right, running their own variation of Doomfist at first, running the Reaper. And I think that's something that we could definitely see find success for them on Assault later on in the series. As you mentioned before the break, though, we are headed to Numbani for our second map here in this series. So the question really becomes now, where do they set up? What are they going to run? Are they going to try to run the defensive Genji? Like, what's their defensive strategy here? Because Shanghai Dragons, you know, are ruthless on their attacks. So they're extremely efficient, especially when Lip is playing the Sombra, which I think is most likely what we are going to see here on Numbani. If you lose A and Lip walks away with a EMP after A, then you might just lose B in that EMP fight, and then suddenly Shanghai Dragons are sitting at 4-minute time bank, 3-minute time bank on C, and you're like, oh, well, is this even winnable? You know, I can get into your head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Spark definitely have to improve their performance on Numbani. We saw them play this versus the Chengdu Hunters in that last series, and while they didn't finish the map, it was with no time in the time bank. They will be starting here on defense, and it's got to be a really strong one to try and shut down the Shanghai Dragons, because they're dealing with a completely different beast now.
Yeah, this is... Shanghai Dragons have been so dominant this season. I mean, yeah, I know a lot of people put the asterisk that we have this like smaller group that they play in, so they just kind of like run circles around everybody and beat the same teams repeatedly. I mean, that is true to a certain extent. They have less variety of opponents, but arguably a stronger and tougher region. And they've just been so dominant. They've been in every finals. You know, obviously not winning the last one, but they've been in every finals.
Yeah.
And this is the best team in Asia, and probably the best team in the world. Multiple MVP candidates on this roster. You got to take this team seriously, and Hangzhou Spark are do just that. That was scary.
Yeah, well, good leap out there. Lip, I'm surprised he stuck around there. He's really trying to weave past Architect, but doesn't get the opportunity to do so.
Use the Architect spots. That's his translocator location. He's probably going to get this kill.
Yeah. Well, he took him very low. Lip does manage to exit. Architect now getting hounded down. Flutta coming in to try and protect Lip. It's quite a bit of damage on a hit. Gushue as well, now going to be hacked. Focus Fire comes through. He'll be eliminated. Flutta is going to be pulling back, waiting for that anti-heal to go ahead and go away. Will be safe, and Shanghai Dragons now find themselves on the point. Hangzhou Spark have to repress here, trying to get back in, try to stop this from happening. A Bionade flips onto Bebe. Getting close, but just not really close enough to that nano boost for them to throw it onto Gushue and try to recontest. Now they push forward at the point. He does get capped, and this could be absolutely massive for them. Yeah, everybody going to get cleaned up, other than maybe Architect, who's
this is
just
exactly
somewhere.
what I was saying earlier about like what's worst case scenario. Look at Lee Jae Gon's ult percentage. Look at how much more damage he did in the fight, which leads to more healing because of how aggressive he plays. And now you're walking up to B with an EMP, like I was talking about. Lip gets the free trade here for the last part of this. Gets the heal. I mean, if he died there by some crazy circumstance, which is extremely unlikely, they have so much time. The cart's rolling for free. He's going to look for that EMP fight. Godsby is matching him though, and I think Hangzhou need to be proactive here. They can't just sit back and wait for Shanghai's engagement. They need to take the with Godsby's EMP. They've got their own nano boost. They have to be proactive here. They just sit back and lose this.
Alright, well, Nano goes out on the Gushue. The EMP comes through from Lip, answered by Godsby. Manages to find 3 to Lip's 2, but follow-up kills just aren't there yet. Flutta takes down Architect for the 1v1, now almost finds Godsby. Does force him back. Sasha trying to kite his way back around the corner. Still with the sliver of HP remaining. Suddenly we'll start getting topped up here as the rally rolls from Mika. You can see, Lee Jae Gon just holds on to his own. Says, you know what, we don't need to use it. We already still win this fight. So they get the rally out for free, and the cart rolls into point B. I mean, 5 minutes, 31 seconds for this final stretch. This is absolutely
This is what
brutal.
I was talking about. I mean, I hate to say it, but, you know, there's at the moment a big disparity between the level of these two teams, and Shanghai Dragons just running away with this one because their ult efficiency is insane because they keep winning these fights that are one-sided. Hangzhou, hold that thought. Architect almost getting hacked there. They're down on ults again.
Yep. Oh, rally's now out. Void trying to build up that energy. Hovering around 55 here at the moment.
Gets nothing. No impact.
He's waiting for his opportunity. Waiting for the grab. Gushue, you said the Primal doesn't really get much done. Sashin pulls the trigger, throws out the grab first. Void trying to stay alive, answers in kind to the grab of his own, manages to catch 2 as Sashin falls low. A couple of them have to peel back on the side of the Shanghai Dragons, as that Bionade from Bebe was pretty good. 1-for-1 thus far, as Gushue will get taken down. Need to edge out here for the Shanghai Dragons. But can they keep pressing the issue is the question. Nano Boost is going to go through onto Fearless, so Shanghai, they want to finish this right here, right now. Architect going to be taken down off screen. Mika barely manages to escape back into the spawn room. And, you know, Godspeed just throws the EMP because he knows, well, I can't make it to the cart. I can't do anything else. I might as well just use it while I have it. And they get to the finish line here on Numbani with an absolutely massive time bank. 4 minutes, 25 seconds is huge. And may I remind, Hangzhou Spark were able to complete the map versus the Chengdu Hunters, but it was in overtime.
Let's not like forget that a lot of this is from DJ Gon's aggressive play. From A onwards, he has just output more healing than Mika, and in part again because of his higher, like his healing output was higher because his damage output was higher, and you know he's just consistently hitting that flail, getting those heals coming through, and you know. When I was watching Godsby, you know, our observers were showcasing like the majority of the fight there, but I was watching Godsby's EMP charge build up because on the UI, because I was thinking like, well, this is one way they can defend this and stabilize, right? And I see him at 98%, excuse me. He's like about to have it, and he gets bashed by Lee Jae-gon. He's stunned. He's zoned out. Like Lee Jae-gon is in his face. He's tracking his every move. He's not. He's like Lee Jae-gon's like, I know there's one way that they can defend this right now. It's EMP. And Lee Jae-gon's in there trying to interrupt EMP, which isn't ready yet, but Godsby's almost there. And he's so proactive that we're watching a Sombra essentially be trapped in spawn, with the win condition of the defense being that EMP that he never gets to use until it's too late. I mean, this is absolute domination so far for the Shanghai Dragons. No other way to put it.
Yeah, Hangzhou Spark really need to get their heads in the game here. I'm just going to be farming in the back for a little bit. Jumps away. Gets the hack before Godsby can arrive. Very nicely done. Sniped right out from underneath of him. The rest of the Hangzhou Spark going to be going for that top right approach from the defender's perspective. Start poking their heads out the doorway, but Lip is going to be getting his, rather taking the head off of Architect. Very nicely done. Fearless leaps up, will get pushed back, but straight back up to the top. Trying to get that cleave damage in, trying to build up for the Primal Rage, but everybody pulls back around the corner already for Hangzhou, so fortunately for them, Fearless doesn't get much done.
Yeah, Lip.
But at the same time, they are buying time.
Trying to get this back hack on Architect. He actually does get the hack off.
He finds it. Godsby's eliminated.
This is Lip's playstyle. He likes to hack the mobile heroes so his team can collapse and kill them.
Yep. Speaking of collapse, everybody moves up here onto the high ground. A little bit of an overstep from Lee Jae-gon, so will be a trade out on these Brigidas, and now Flood is going to be gone. It's going to be a huge window of opportunity for the Hangzhou Spark. They have to make their way onto the point here quickly, but HP bar is still a little bit low as Bebe tries to keep everybody topped up. The Nano Boost is now going to be online. Can invest that into Gushwei. Bubble's going to come down from Fearless as he tries to stay in the fight. Drop down zip from Sasha. You can see that he is quite energized at the moment, so will hurt people, so they have to go ahead and peel back. They're going to... They can. I'll have to see if they're going to pull the trigger on that. The Nano Boost is there from Luffy, but they have to get into a position to use it.
He's going to get a Primal. He's got it.
Fearless, the Primal Rage coming through. They make their way onto the point at the moment. They're both trying to focus fire Gushwei. Nearly has a Primal of his own, but the hack comes down. The Winston can't do anything. Gets taken down to knock off the side of the map on the Sashin. Will finish him off. Pops the right click to go ahead and deny the kill credit.
Fearless is insane.
Chilling up top.
Fearless is so crazy.
On the Architect at the end. The guys had no HP. Still just sat there. Still just zapped away. The Shanghai Dragons. The recontest works out. 2 minutes now. About to be on the clock for the Hangzhou Spark.
Everything we just saw from Fearless was out of control. Luffy as well, keeping him healed up at range. They know he's gonna have. Luffy has Nano Boost. He's gonna get a Primal. He knocks Sashin off, gets the kill there. Zones everybody else out, survives with like 100 health, and gets that high ground kill onto Architect. I mean, high ground with a little bump there. Insane plays though. Just insane plays from Fearless. Yeah. And he brought this back. They might get a full hold here now, all because of those sick plays on the Winston.
They're going to be looking for it. A minute and a half is what they have to defend for. Hangzhou Spark make their way back to the point. They have a plethora of ults to work with. Nearly the big six online. Lip is desperately trying to get that EMP ready to go. Godsby just now has it ready. Bionade's going to expire on him. Primal Rage comes out from Gushwei, taking quite a bit of damage here as Pleta. The grab! Shifting over, goes in. That's going to be the bigger bang coming in. Manages the bind too, and he completely shuts it down. The grab is absolutely huge from the side of Void. Great setup there from Pleta. Makes it over in time to throw down that pulse bomb.
This might be...
And now it's going to be under a minute by the time they all respawn and get back to
This might be the highest level Overwatch I think I've ever cast. It's actually crazy. They take a risk, they pull off the grab when everyone's off point, and set up for a pulse bomb fight, the big bang there, knowing they're down on ultimates. Now they can look for an EMP fight. Godsby has to pull the trigger first. He was second last time I mentioned this. Or so they had to be proactive. He was second, then he has to be first this time. But no, it's Lip!
Oh, 4 members in the back line. Lip hiding. Sashin will be the first one to fall. Now they're looking for a little bit more on the follow-up. The rest of the team pressing forward as Lip jumps back with the translocator. Godsby's going to go ahead, throws it down, manages to find 3, and Lee Jae-gon's going to be the first one to fall. Fearless beating and batting everybody into the corners, trying to find those kills, but it's way too low. Anti out, does get taken down. This could be absolutely costly here for the Shanghai Dragons. Maybe they have overstepped, maybe they have pressed too far forward. Hangzhou Spark back at the point, still holding a grab. They have a bigger bang combo of their own and nearly a rally to keep them in the fight. So this could be the opportunity, but it has to be. You can see Shanghai Dragons not wanting to commit. They know that it's just way too risky. They could lose out on more if they overcommit there and get split spawn.
We know,
so want to just get set up for the defense.
We know that now they're going to have the inferior time bank to finish the map, but it might not necessarily be that much inferior. They have a lot of great ultimates coming online here now as well. Shanghai Dragons were used a lot. It was a very expensive attempt to hold. They backed off, but they drained a lot of their war chest here. Grabs out.
Yeah. Grab and pulse bomb will find Lee Jae Gun in that big bang combo. Going to allow them to have a little bit more staying power, especially with Lip falling. They lose Gushue. You can see how low some of these HP bars are, and Luffy will get tagged up, baby, sniping him down. It's so scrappy, it's so back and forth. The card is still inching, but there's going to be a numbers advantage here for Shanghai Dragons, at least in being positioned further forwards. The card's not going to round the corner.
This is a really great turnaround for Shanghai Dragons because, you know, the pendulum of Bolt economy is swinging back into their favor now. Sasha committing the grab for that big bang combo just earlier. It's crazy that's a thing again. Rally's out here for Mika. He does avoid the pulse.
Oh. Yeah, Flooded burns the pulse, doesn't wait for the Graviton Surge. Thought he had a pick, but doesn't manage to find it. Rally rolling here from Mika, getting everybody armored up. Lee Jae Gun's going to be matching as the hack comes through from the EMP. Godsby catches 3. Graviton Surge is out from Void. They're looking to try to finish off Gushue as they catch him up. The hack goes through as well. Give it a lot of resources to finish off the Scientist, but they managed to do so.
Hold on.
Now just looking to finish Sasha.
Hold the phone.
And they got it.
How did they lose that fight? Sasha coming into this fight, they had the EMP start. Both members of the Shanghai Dragons hit. Void is, as we see a delay here on the Bebe,
no.
Void is actually bioed, so he's actually antied. He can't be healed. He still jukes his way around, survives, gets up to high energy, tosses in a grab, and saves the day. Shanghai Dragons win the fight down on ultimates. Well, 3+ members, I think it was 3 at least, EMP'd by Godsby's opening EMP, and they still turn to win the fight. Insane.
I'm
speechless.
fantastically done. A hack now in the back line from Godsby onto Fearless, but will just expire. Nanoboo's going to be tossed in. That's the go button, and Bebe just vanishes. Everybody collapses. They take him down. Lip barely surviving. Not much HP in that bar, but they'll go ahead and slowly get topped back up. Bubble toss in onto Godsby as he gets body blocked in the doorway, but Fearless is now overstepped. Overcommitted to trying to shut down that Sombra, and in fact has sped over a bit of EMP charge. All the same, the clock is draining. Shanghai Dragons taking the Hangzhou Spark down to 9 seconds, getting ready to move up 2-0 in this series. They do touch, the OT will be forced. Defin comes through from Gushue, makes his way into the side room. Lip trying to build up for that EMP, 13% away. Grab comes in from Sashin, the kills coming in now. 3 fall inside of the Shanghai Dragons, and I don't think they're going to be able to turn this. With Fearless falling, it certainly will not happen, but it's only a minute and a half on the clock for the Hangzhou Spark. So right now what they're really playing for is going to be an opportunity to draw.
Yeah. You're exactly
right. And they would
right.
have to hold at point A for 4.5 minutes.
This is going to be insane if Hangzhou can even finish it too, because they've got one good team fight here. If Godsby can make another big EMP happen, the last time it was a good EMP, the follow-up wasn't good enough to win the fight, but I think if they win a fight here, it's still not enough. They have to win 2 fights like that. And Shanghai could just lose the EMP fight and hold the 6 other ultimates they've caught themselves here. It's going to be really hard for Hangzhou in this moment.
EMP comes through, only manages to find 2 on the side of the Hangzhou Spark. Godsby and Mika getting clipped by that. Does delay Godsby's use of his own EMP. Grab, you can see Hangzhou Spark playing a little bit slower. Yeah, the grab comes in, instantly focus fire onto that Sombra just to make sure that they can get that card control.
It canceled his EMP, he doesn't have an EMP.
He actually used it!
It's gone!
He actually used it! Oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me!
He thought maybe that would defensively, when everyone groups up for Shanghai, that everyone would get hacked on the collapse in, but he dies in animation.
Unbelievable.
He doesn't have it.
Such a blunder.
They needed it.
If he was coming back in for this, okay, Architect's just dead. Lip's just going to finish him off.
GG,
but if he had it for this last fight, these last 15 seconds, then maybe that would be enough to try to get them close, get them across the line to finish the map. But he just throws it away in the Graviton Surge. That's such a big blunder there. Look how far back they are being gated. Right now, the point is being backcapped by somebody. The contest is not there on the card. They suddenly start realizing this, though, as Godsby tries to drag it over. He's trying to get it there, but the EMP will come through just to lock him down, and they will finish him off. A valiant effort from Godsby after the big blunder in the Graviton Surge. But there you have it. Shanghai Dragons will successfully defend on Nimbani. The card cannot make it to the end. They cannot go to extra innings. And even if they did, 4 minutes, 25 seconds is what they would have had to defend point A, a single tick for, just to force a draw. Shanghai Dragons are looking immaculate
out
right
of
now,
control,
and Hangzhou
good.
Spark just cannot hold a candle to this. They are an inferno by comparison.
This is the finals that, you know, if I looked at any of the bracket lineups and this was the one that, like, if this one flashed on the screen and I saw this one, this would be the one I was worried, like, this could be extremely one-sided. But I didn't feel that way after watching, you know, Hangzhou's route to the finals. I thought, okay, it's going to be a one-sided finals potentially, but I don't think Shanghai is just going to totally outclass them. We're watching team fights where every initiation tool is used for the Hangzhou Spark. They have every advantage in some of these early parts of the fights, and Shanghai still win it. They still turn it around. You're seeing great nano boosts from Luffy. It's like, I'm actually a little bit speechless at what we're witnessing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, just crazy performance here from the Shanghai Dragons, and they are looking to just steamroll their way through, get ready for the playoffs, and shut down the Spark here with a 4-0. Two out of the way. They're halfway there. Hangzhou Spark, something's got to give. Something's got to change here, and they need to change sooner rather than later. Do not want to be in a position to try and reverse sweep against the Shanghai Dragons. It's not looking great. So we're going to go to a quick little break here. We'll see what the Hangzhou Spark can get done. But like you, I'm a little bit at a loss for words, Wolf. It's a rough position to be in. Volskaya Industries is going to be our next map, so stay tuned, guys. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile.
All right, welcome back. It is time for our game break presented by Cheez-It Grooves, where Wolf and I can finally catch our breaths, basically. We've been speaking nonstop for these first two maps because there's just been action all over the place. But the ones who are instigating it, the ones who are constantly pulling the trigger in the fights are the Shanghai Dragons, and they are absolutely profiting from it. Now up 2-0, halfway to closing out their second tournament win here in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen, actually, you know, the crazy thing is, like, let me pose, like, the thought that we might, and this could be our crunch time presented by Cheez-It Grooves.
Is it our crunch time? Crunch time presented by Cheez-It Grooves.
Let me pause the thought. We've actually had several series like this very recently, where one team extremely dominant. First two maps of a series, had a lot of these.
I know. Okay.
Had a lot of these, right?
I know where you're going
Seoul
with this.
Dynasty recently against the very Hangzhou Spark.
Yep.
First two games. Wow, 2U so sick. Close game of control, but then 2U comes in, extremely dominant game. You think, wow, there's no way. There's no way Seoul doesn't win this. They get reverse swept. You look at Shanghai Dragons and Seoul Dynasty in their previous series in the May Melee, for example. Very great start. Very great start for Seoul Dynasty. Doesn't end up working out for them in the end, in the long run. Extremely dominant first few maps.
Yeah.
So I think what everyone's probably thinking is okay, Wolf saying maybe there's a pattern here, maybe there's some weird fate thing, maybe Wolf's getting a little bit superstitious here. But in this series I'm no, there's just no way. There's no way. There's no way. After watching that game, I'm no way that Shanghai doesn't win this series.
I think you just kind of keep going.
There's no way there's a reverse sweep. No way. No. Not this time. I don't think so.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. It doesn't look good. I don't know where Hangzhou Spark needs to pull from in order to get back into this one and to start taking some maps off the Shanghai Dragons to even, make that, a bit of a reality, to just put some wins on the board to make this a series and not just a complete shutout. But wherever they need to pull from, they need to find that spot and start pulling from it, whether it's their hearts, their guts, I don't know. But right now, there's just every twist and turn. They'll have a moment where, maybe somebody overcommits for something on the Shanghai Dragons, like Fearless going and trying to get the body block onto Godspeed to shut him down to kill the Sombra, and then he dies. So, Shanghai Dragons are making a couple missteps, but they're just not getting punished for it. Hangzhou Spark just aren't able to get into a position to capitalize on those mistakes, whereas Shanghai Dragons, throughout this entire season in 2020, have been the best at that. They are always able to punish.
We're seeing a lot of team fights too, where the execution of the setup, with Sashin setting up a grab for Architect to pulse bomb for the Big Bang, or a really nice aggressive EMP for Godspeed. The setup is good. Everything looks fine, but then you actually see the fight unravel. And Lee Jae-gun is in perfect spot. He dodges the EMP. They get a rally off. Void comes in, bubbles himself, bloody blocks some damage, bubbles somebody else, tosses in a counter grab, and then suddenly it's this fight that looked if you freeze frame it, right at that exact moment where the EMP hits 3 people, and it looks okay, they have their own grab, there's no way Shanghai could win this fight, right? You pause and freeze frame it in these moments, and you think there's no way Hangzhou does not walk out of this fight with a team wipe, with a cart rolling, and then, reality hits. And it's how could you even keep yourself mentally in the right state of mind in a finals like this after you had to fight your way here, right? Shanghai had seed advantage and then had a pretty one-sided victory against New York just earlier, right? And so they're I think Shanghai is coming into this with all the advantages. You're Hangzhou, you're tired, you just played the last series. Yeah, there was a break, but you played the more recent series. You had a rough road on your way here. You finally fought for your right to be in a finals. They had won no playoff maps. Hangzhou had won no playoff maps until this tournament, until the Countdown Cup. And now you're up against the actual literal gods of Shanghai Dragons. And and you're starting the fights well, but you can't stick the landing. It's got to be demoralizing. It's got to be, I don't know what the coach is saying right now in this halftime, but it's going to have to be insane words of wisdom to bring them back into this.
Yeah, it's the Looney Tunes versus the Monstars in Space Jam. They need Mike's secret stuff to try to get back into the series, and I don't know if they're going to have it. I hope that they do. I do not like seeing 4-0 shutouts, especially in finals matches. So I'm hoping here that the Hangzhou Spark can buckle down, they can get into this series, and can pick up a win, starting with our next map, which is going to be Volskaya Industries. That's going to do it for our game break and for our crunch time presented by Cheez-It Grooves. Guys, when we come back, we are just going to be going through the rest of this series to see if Shanghai can just keep steamrolling, or if Hangzhou Spark can find something to hold on to, find some ground to stand on, and can start picking up some wins. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. Deep flavor, deep crunch. It's a mind crunch. The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
All right, welcome back. Here we go. Rest of the series coming up now with Shanghai Dragons currently leading 2-0 in this first of 4 grand final of the Countdown Cup. Hangzhou Spark have been a bit absent in this series so far, but they're making some changes to try and get back into the game. We have QOQ stepping in for Sashin.
That's right. So Sashin, you know, we talked about him a lot in lead up to this finals, obviously yesterday, about being used to be a DPS player. Was a DPS player, obviously, for parts of the season last year, but has now become a flex tank in the Zarya role over QOQ, who's been mostly focused, obviously, on the Sigma in most of the maps he's played. And he has played some D.Va. Obviously, D.Va's been kind of pushed to the wayside since 2.2.2 and Sigma came out, but every now and then makes appearances. But that was one of the weak points of Hangzhou, was it felt like they didn't have a strong Zarya. Then Sashin came in, and then Sashin impressed. Sashin looked really good, not only yesterday, but also in the lead-up match against the Chengdu Hunters. Very impressive Zarya. And this is the first time he'll be absent since he was subbed in, essentially, yesterday in that first match. So I wonder why this decision of all choices being made. Does it mean they just want to run double shield here? It's a questionable
that would be my guess. It seems like the Sigma is kind of just what they want to aim for right now as far as their front line. Maybe having that Orisa Sigma here, especially on Volskaya in point A, is absolutely huge. So seems like that's going to be the likely setup here for the Hangzhou Spark. We already kind of see them hovering that right now, as they will be moving out first on the defense. So we'll be running that setup with Godsby on the McCree and Architect on the Tracer. So not seeing so much Genji here so far in this set.
Yeah, I'm not shocked that Shanghai is well, we'll see what they decide to actually lock in when they come out, but I'm not shocked they're moving away from Genji, just because even though they ran it against New York, it's something that they've kind of generally avoided so far.
Yeah.
And the setup for Hangzhou is pretty nice. You have McCree, who can chip down the members who are trying to come through the main archway. He kind of, course, step back and have that high ground control to punish what Shanghai's running. Also gives you Pharah defense. I don't think we're actually going to see the Pharah, but I was going to say if we do see that for some crazy reason, that's going to be solid for them. Shanghai will roll out slowly, identify the composition. See if Fearless actually sticks with his Wrecking Ball. He's not going to. They're going to swap over the Genji. And it's just going to be double shield Ashe Genji.
Okay, going for the May.
Okay. I'll say it's a little bit weird to run double shield and then the Genji. You really limit yourself in terms of the heavy dive.
There they are.
A lot of time spent. That's confidence, by the way. To be able to change composition that much and just basically throw 30 seconds away of strategic decision-making alone that's a big statement. Ooh, that was huge.
A lot of damage coming up from QOQ. Yeah, he's getting really good value at the moment. Already up to about 50%, but now might be in a bad spot. Kinetic Grasp comes through, Immortality Field's going to be finished off, and Fearless will find the kill as he gets frozen, as you say. 3 members going to be gone, and Shanghai Dragons, time well spent, swapping things up there. Back in the spawn room, they will push through, and this is going to be around a 6-minute time bank for them as they get ready to advance towards B.
Yeah, I have to take a look back at Godsby's perspective, because it's on Godsby in this case to kind of pressure out Fleta and make sure he can't just walk forward and freeze like that. But I think that the double shields blocked him from doing damage, and there's just not much you could do in that situation. QOQ had the flank angle there to do tons of damage, as you pointed out, but then became a liability and was frozen, right? I mean, this is all there is to it. He dies and it's over. Shanghai steamroll the point. Not going to have enough ults for a double count, though, so that's good for Hangzhou. Silver linings.
Well, Lippy uses the Ant Matrix, but kind of gets moved off that position. The rest of the team wrapping around this left side. Let's go ahead and continue to top everybody up. Bob online, a Flux. Almost there for Void as he has taken the lead after QOQ got picked, but QOQ's not far behind, so this could kind of go either way. Flux going to be coming out first here from Void. They get the wall off. They're trying to cut everybody off. Slam them back down to the ground. Mika can't get enough healing to try and survive. Accretion into the back line. Godsby going to be taking down the full front from Architect, only finding the Bongo. They'll win the, whatever they call it. The Immortality Field. The drone. There we go. That's the terminology I was looking for. And Shanghai are on the point. Tag in at the last second here from Architect, going to be forced to recall in a moment you would expect. There it is. Still on the point, still alive, still doing a bit of damage. How long can they delay for? Mika going to be eliminated. QOQ now finished off after being frozen. Gushue with a supercharger, but it's not going to do him any good by himself. The finish will come through. 4 minutes and 29 seconds on the board for the Shanghai Dragons.
Yeah. Is Bebe just on the high ground but he's sitting and watching. I mean, he might have bought one more second. He was at like half health. Wouldn't have been able to do much, but at this point it's hard for me to even give like the analytical perspective of what Hangzhou could do better, what they should do. I mean, you could argue that QOQ shouldn't have been that far forward. He was very greedy, trying to get that extra damage for a fast flux. That cost them A. Shanghai came into B without, because the fight was so one-sided, they didn't even build that many ultimates. You know, they come into B without ultimates, but still get the opening kills and start to see things. It's going to be a replay from Boyd here. Set up for the flux that hits Mika and Godspeed. QOQ
It was a really meaty flux.
Yeah, QOQ's pulled out of his. So, and that's just the team fight there. Architect, his pulse bomb is denied by an immortality field. I mean, Architect's had some great pulse bombs too. Like this whole first 3 maps, including that last one there. You know, from Numbani, had on control. He's made some big plays, but I mean, Luffy is just shutting it down. In this case, Bongo and an immortality field, he gets the double, the double small kill feed flash up, but that's not what you want to see, unfortunately, if you're Spark.
3, 2, 1.
Well, let's see what the Hangzhou Spark can get done. Architect, for now at least, pushing out the gate with that Genji. So once they go back over to Comfort, since he's not been finding a whole lot of success with the Tracer versus the Shanghai Dragons, it does change it up. See if this is going to be a net positive for them.
Architect's
just going to be spamming out where he can.
There's a lot of potential if he can get into the back line, if he can find Lip, you know, isolate him and get that kill. I mean, we're not talking about Dragon Blades even really at this point. QOQ again, punished.
They keep him alive. Immortality Field comes in for the Hangzhou Spark, but now Bebe's going to fall. Lip gets that headshot. QOQ does get picked off in the end. And despite how low Void just went, will be sustained. So they get the cleanup kills. Shanghai Dragons still going to be holding firmly here.
The problem is Godsby wasn't in a position to challenge Lip. See where Lip is standing here? Godsby was trying to get the angle on the other side of the truck, you know, in that little corner there. He was trying to find that angle, but he just couldn't threaten him. So in those situations where you get the immortality, if you try to turn, Shanghai Dragons has this glass cannon hero, Ash, who's just going to do massive damage uncontested. And the tanks are going to obviously trade up, and then you end up getting those kills and everything falls apart. So good immortality for Bebe, no doubt, but the follow-up is just not there because Godsby doesn't have the same angle, does not have the same amount of damage output there in that situation.
Sees dynamite there from Lip. And Matrix going to be tossed in from Luffy. Immortality Field finished off. QOQ going to be picked out. Architect makes his way around the back. He's trying to farm up as best as possible. Nearly has that Dragon Blade online, but what do they even pair it with? Deflection going to be used. He dashes out, bob for bob, pushes him up into the air. The rally through, gets a cutoff here onto Gushue, but he can dip inside the garage here, so will be safe for the moment. Doesn't get picked off. Wanted to go for that isolation. Dragon Blade going to be coming in. The Coach Gun will push back Architect. They locked him in. Even with just the flux, they would have not have been able to close the distance there on the Lip so badly. Wanted to get rid of this Ash. Just been taking pot shots the entire time, but it does not work out, and that was their biggest ult. You see Architect's going to be swapping over onto the Tracer.
And they're coming through.
They do. Lip does get eliminated. Shanghai Dragons now have to try to hold out 5v6 as Architect will be rejoining. Pull their way back into the side room. Boy with a pretty meaty shield. It's going to be looking all right. Flutta does hold on to a Blizzard, and that's likely going to have to be their recontest tool for them as they try to hold out this point.
Yeah, they have immortality field too.
His way back over.
That's really important. They're going to dive in on it.
Drop down comes through. Barrier's going to be placed. Flux comes out from QOQ. Pulls 2 up into the air. The ice block from Flutta will keep him safe, and the Blizzard comes down. But not any kills in the back end of it yet. Godspeed strikes first, gets rid of Luffy as he pops the Amp Matrix. Leads gone, however, manages to find Mika, cutting him out of the rally early. The armor not going to be getting pushed through. With Bebe getting clipped by that accretion in midair. That's going to be the end of the push here for the side of the Hangzhou Spark. Now down to a minute. They make it to almost 82% here on point A, but there's so much further that they have to go.
2 major accretions hit in that team fight as well. One onto QOQ, and the follow-up killing one there. I believe it killed Bebe, if I'm not remembering incorrectly. So just setting up big plays. Architect on the Tracer again here, but there's not much to set up for the fight. All eyes on Godspeed here. Perhaps he can get a long-range kill onto Fleta, you know. That's the idea. Bob obviously can have some point presence, but there's not a whole lot otherwise here for the Hangzhou Spark to initiate. Unfortunately, they're gonna have, they don't have time to build the ults they need, realistically.
I mean, that was a decent start there. Void falling low, has that Flux rolling. The Bob will finish him off. This is going to be potentially the breakthrough for the Hangzhou Spark to try to get point A capped. Pulse Bomb going to be thrown down right in the middle of the ground, and Gushwei will fall. A trade out on the Aresis as Fearless will be eliminated as well. Ice block there from Fleta on the point. Pops the wall, goes into the side room to get the mini pack, but will be finished off as the collapse comes in from the rest of the Hangzhou Spark. Godspeed swaps over onto the Soldier 76 just to try to rejoin in a little bit faster. Islip desperately tries to find a pick, tries to buy some time for the rest of the team to arrive, but falls low, gets taken down, and the cap will come through. But it's the minimal amount of time here for the Hangzhou Spark. 3 minutes starting, so already a minute and a half down off the bat.
I mean, that's what it takes too. It takes a Bob killing Void mid-flux, and and essentially just perfect plays following up there. Mika helping shut down Lip's Tracer, because Lip's Tracer almost ran away with things, getting that pulse opening, and then actually almost getting a second kill there onto Architect. So good plays by Mika to finally shut him down, because he was just running away with things. But yeah, the time bank issue is a serious problem now for the Hangzhou Spark, and they don't have, again, they don't have the ults needed to break this open right now. This isn't gonna be
headshot there on the Architect, finishes him off. It's going to have to be a reset for the Hangzhou Spark, and Mika gets cut off. The Mortality Field's still going to be committed to try to keep him alive. Break down the May barrier. Try to play back around the corner, but you can see the Hults coming in the freeze there on the QOQ. Still being kept alive. The Kinetic Grasp is committing quite a bit of value, and Fleta is going in for this Blizzard. They want to shut them down. They want to stagger as many people as humanly possible. So Shanghai press the issue. They move up. They get the cleanup kills that they were looking for.
It was actually, for a moment there, it looked like, you know, the Hangzhou Spark has stayed too long after the Ice Wall comes up. Immortality Field is there, you know, to save everybody, but they can't turn the fight around. They're kind of stuck on the retreat. But then for a moment there, good heals came out from Bebe. Everyone came up back to full health. An awkward moment here for Architect. He's dead. Dead. Headshot from Luffy. He didn't even really have full vision of his head, but he knows the exact angle. But yeah, what I was going to say is it looked like Hangzhou might have been able to turn that, and that's when Fleta just says, no, I'll go to Blizzard. I don't even want 1% chance they can turn this around. I'm going to commit. It's expensive, but when you're already up on time bank for 2 minutes, now you're up 3 minutes, it's worth it. It absolutely is.
I mean, they've already got 5 ults getting ready to come up. Void's going to build up the rest of this Flux pretty easily.
Nice shot.
That's a really nice opening pick. Great headshot there on a Lip. Now the Amp Matrix is going to be coming through from either side. Pulse Bomb is really good from Architect to find a 6 on the Luffy. Hangzhou Spark now have to be all in on this push. They have to finish with some time in the bank if they want to have an opportunity to win this map. Otherwise, they will be playing for a draw. Fearless going to fall. Lee J got taken down. This is the moment now for the Hangzhou Spark. Flux is QOQ, looks for a target. Gets the catch here onto Lip, drops him back down, almost finishes him off. The Immortality Field is going to be drawn out from Lippy. Now doesn't have that to play on the point to try to keep Fearless alive. We'll see if the Focus Fire is going to be good enough for the Hangzhou Spark to get rid of that pesky Wrecking Ball, though. Still going to be hovering around half HP as the first hit comes in. Lip trying to find an angle, pushes up onto the high ground, but now there's no supports, now there's no tanks. Lip has to shoot some people, but he's got to drop down onto the point as well.
Ice block!
We'll go ahead and it'll boost up the Pulse Bomb, but there you go. Ice block from Fleta. He cannot survive. 1 minute on the clock for the Hangzhou Spark to 5 minutes and 13 seconds for the Shanghai Dragons. This is, this will be an absolutely miraculous victory if the Hangzhou Spark can pull off this defense after their attack.
I think it was probably just a coincidence because he was going to throw up the wall no matter what, but I've never even seen anything like that before. Like, the timing for that to have actually hit the wall is actually
completely
crazy.
Random. It's got to be completely random. There's no way you could do that intentionally.
Well, I mean, he just it was like a really... It was a crazy thing
like a really big lob in.
This is the ice wall that was super sick that sets this up, right? So then the Immortality Field comes down. Oh, this is actually a different fight. Never mind. I thought it was the other one.
Yeah, this was the Blizzard commit from Fleta.
Yeah, that was after.
Just punishing Hangzhou Spark.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is the first. This is gonna sound crazy. Bear with me, but this is the first time Hangzhou Spark have shown signs of life in this series. And yes, they are 4 minutes and 13 seconds down. And you know, they had a rough start. It looked like Shanghai might have actually held A. Like they were really, really, really close to taking that back completely. Time bank went down super low on B, even though Architect had a great pulse bomb start. Shanghai delayed. Fleta comes out. but maybe this is the beginning of a comeback. They can have some crazy, insane attack here. Maybe Godsby hits that miracle shot like we saw from him earlier on B. He takes Lip out of the fight, helps chunk down Fleta. Maybe. I mean, there's a world where it works. They're gonna go for the teleport, but the scouted. Oh, that's your whole time bank gone. It's all gone.
Goodbye, QOQ. Just waiting to see if anybody else is going to teleport around that side, but yeah, now Hangzhou's like, okay, maybe we'll just move away from this strategy.
I mean, that's risky,
back
but
over onto the Tracer.
it's so easy to scout and shut down. I mean, I respect them for trying, but it's like, well, now you got a 30-second time bank actually. You're not gonna have any ults.
Well, Godsby over onto the Widowmaker, gets tagged by Lip as he goes up into the air. 18 seconds remaining. This is the all-in play. Dynamite from Lip manages to find Mika. The Immortality Field's going to be finished off as Godsby continues to take some shots, trying to soften people up, but it's his team that is dying around him. 6 seconds remaining. Who can tag the point? Baby on the high ground, finished off by the Dynamite. Nobody really close by. And it will just go ahead and bleed down. And now the Hangzhou Spark are playing a 5-minute and 13-second defense over a single tick to try to force out a draw. Otherwise, they're staring down the barrel of a necessary reverse sweep if they want to be our Countdown Cup champions.
There's a, there's like a, I'm struggling here.
I mean, yeah, I can tell.
This is like the moment where everything just, you're desperate at this moment because you have to try to push through. There's no time. 15 seconds. Dynamite's huge. And Lip just gets free kills. It's like Architect insane right around. He melees. He's not confident in his ability. But what I was gonna say is, Shanghai Dragons have 5 minutes and 13 seconds, right? But with how they're playing and how dominant they've been, I don't think anyone would have doubts if they had 1 minute on the clock to take a tick here. I don't think anyone would have doubts.
Yeah.
No one would doubt. But they have 5 minutes and 13. Let's actually set the stakes here for a second. Hangzhou Spark, who's been overall crushed, especially in the first 2 maps, is the closest map they've had so far, and look at where that got them. I just want to set the stakes. If they hold this, it will be perhaps one of the most memorable maps that you and I have cast, since the crazy Horizon Lunar Colony pulled with Runaway.
Yeah.
Like this is, it would take a miracle. It would take more than a miracle.
This would be just amazing. A cataclysmic defense from the Hangzhou Spark if they can pull this off. Right now, Shanghai Dragons just scouting. We've got plenty of time, so let's just see what they got. And it will just be the composition that netted them such a dominant push onto A the first time around. Hangzhou Spark should be anticipating this. Let's see if they play accordingly.
There's no room for error. And all Shanghai have to do is play for the Blizzard fight. So right now, if you're Hangzhou, you just kind of have to keep kiting around. You have to maybe try to take high ground. If Godsby can, if he can, it's actually Architect on the high ground right now. QQ cannot die.
Keep him alive. Okay, the heals come through. Pop up over the top. The Maywall comes in, locking them inside the side garage. Architect trying to harass out Shanghai, make their way over onto the point. This way pressing up here into the base of Fearless. There's so much damage coming through. Immortality Field going to have to be burned. Push back over to the side. Fearless falling low. Godsby finds a headshot to take him down, but it's at the cost of QOQ. Now, no Sigma in the fight here for the Hangzhou Spark, and it's going to be a really long run back. Likely has to swap over onto the Wrecking Ball just to get back here fast enough. Spark is still going to be sitting on that Sigma, and Godsby's taken down. Can't get out of line of sight fast enough.
No one can challenge Lip now.
They need to displace him right now. No one is really challenging him, but Bebe, he comes up clutch. Finally finds the headshots to finish him off. Supercharger down on the point. Will dissuade the Shanghai Dragons from pressing forward as well. Hangzhou Spark live to fight another day. They get the return of QOQ. Maywall comes in, they're looking for the collapse on the Gushway. Pulse Bomb going to be thrown in, manages to find that Immortality Field, and Gushway going to be taken down. Blizzard finds the kill. Flux online now for Void as the Blizzard is rolling on the point. Mika going to be eliminated in midair as Luffy just goes ahead, snipes him out, but against Architect, and they are ticking up on the point. It's just QOQ, and now he's not even there. Eliminated. Shanghai Dragons, they crushed them yet again, had so much time to play with, took their time, made it, took it patiently. Make their way onto point A, they get that tick, and now they get match point. 3-0 for them. Hangzhou Spark do, in fact, now need to pull off a reverse sweep if they want to win the Countdown Cup.
I mean, Bebe, literally I said it was going to take more than a miracle. They got one miracle only. It wasn't enough. Bebe killing Lip there was as close as it was going to get. I mean, he wasn't even shooting at Lip at first. After Godsby died, he was kind of juking around trying to get some heals done. He turns, hits the headshot after the body shot there, I believe. I might get an order backwards. It might have been a buy shot, then a headshot. Might have been headshot, then buy shot. I don't know. He gets the two
body then head.
hit, body then head, gets a 2-hit, kills Lip, and that's a moment where it's like, okay, is this possible? But no, Shanghai has the Blizzard. They were always playing for the Blizzard fight. That's why they had the Mei. And you play the Mei, you touch the point, it forces Hangzhou to collapse in, or Godsby has to pop off. Godsby dies, in that duel, in that Ash duel, unfortunately. He's zoned out, tries to challenge because he has no choice, and then it's a Blizzard fight on the point that you don't want to deal with, but you have no choice. You have to engage into a comp that's going to win that straight-up fight. And Bebe's heroics aside, it was so difficult to win once Godsby was dead. And they did such a great job at starting the fight off well and kiting around and avoiding where Shanghai Dragons were trying to come into the point and splitting so the freezes weren't going to be as effective. But it just still wasn't enough. I mean, this is not a bad series by Hangzhou Spark. They're not playing bad Overwatch. They're playing their best Overwatch, but sometimes that just isn't good enough.
I mean, yeah, Shanghai are just on another level right now. Bit more, a bit closer there from the Hangzhou Spark were able to get that finish on a B, but unfortunately just such a massive time bank for the Shanghai Dragons. A near impossible defense there is what they were set up to deal with. So they do crumble under that, and now they have to pull off a reverse sweep if they want to stay in this series, if they want to have any chance of taking the Countdown Cup for themselves. Route 66 is their map pick, could be their final one of this set. We're going to find out when we come back from the break, guys, so stay tuned. You don't want to miss it.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile.
Welcome back. This is it, the final hour for the Hangzhou Spark. One more map is, what they need to try and stay in this to start a reverse sweep. Shanghai Dragons on the other side. One more, and they close it out, and they will be our Countdown Cup champions, finding, 2 championships here in the 2020 season after winning the May Melee. They're hungry for it. They're not backing down. They're making no changes to the roster. There's a lot of people who are probably saying, at this point, sub in some of the people who don't get to play that often, put in Ding, put in DM, put in Gegori, because why not? You've got such a strong lead. Shanghai is having none of that nonsense. Nope. They are staying through with the same exact 6 players.
I know everybody wants to see that, but Shanghai just wants to end this series as soon as possible. Not because they're in a hurry or they've got plans after this. You just want to minimize the chances of any reverse sweep happening, any mental shakeups on your team when you're in the zone like this and they're so down 0-3 in such dominant fashion. It's like, why would you give them any edge, right? I mean, sure, it would be fun to see, and it would be like kind of those cool BM moves, like haha. But you know,
Yeah.
Let's talk about like the historical precedent too, because you talked about it earlier. Like we usually don't have one-sided finals in Korea, and this is obviously not Korea. This is APAC, but it's not APAC. It's not Contenders Korea, but it's on a similar scale, and we have mostly Korean players on both rosters. The only 4-0 that you and I ever cast was the 4-0 between X6 and O2.
I was about to bring this up as well.
And it was actually...
and Godspeed played in that.
It was actually... Yeah, Godspeed played in that. It was actually a pretty... it's a pretty similar situation, too. Hangzhou actually being similar to O2 in that Hangzhou reverse swept Seoul Dynasty the same way that O2 reverse swept in a huge upset at the time, even more so of an upset than the Seoul Dynasty reverse sweep against Element Mystic. Then they were able to take the following series and make the grand finals in what was at the time considered to be one of the craziest runs in a Korean Overwatch tournament. And Hangzhou kind of has a similar story on their way here, but beating Chengdu also an upset. But now we might just have another one of those similar 4-0 endings where it's like, okay, you got to the final boss, but you don't have the right equipment. Gonna be a forward hold here for Hangzhou with the Genji. So very aggressive.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that Godspeed has not been in a final. Oh my god, okay. Well, Godspeed's just... He's not even in this one either. Lip just destroyed him. With that headshot, he has shut down his PC and taken him out of the game. Looking for this flank angle for the headshot. That is just going to be Mika getting sent off the side of the map. Bebe, bionated, finish off the forward hold. Not going to be netting them much. Shanghai Dragons now going to start pushing forward. Hangzhou, of course, will have an opportunity to try and recontest here around Big Girls. But yeah, I was going to say Godspeed has not been in a grand final for a tournament since his appearance in Contenders Season 1 in 2018.
Yep, that was 2018.
That was X6 taking that victory. Was a 4-0, was very stompy, and now, you know, the shoe was on the other foot.
That was the same season the Architect left X6 to join San Francisco Shock a long time ago. A lot's changed since then.
Yeah, Architect didn't play in that final. It was BQB.
Right, BQB was Summer God at the time. Okay, this is a nice...
Fearless collapsed on.
Yeah, this is a nice re-engage
really good pitch.
Nice contest from Hangzhou Spark, dropping in, punishing Fearless here. Fearless, now it's not really Fearless's mistake per se. He actually was calculating that he would be able to primal. There's obviously a nano boost available as well. He might have thought Luffy had line of sight and he didn't, but either way, Hangzhou gets that punish. Now they're actually going to try to take this high ground back, like Earls away from the Shanghai Dragons.
Architect has the blade online. Amp Matrix there for Bebe as well. Can help buy them some time. But they're just going to be farming up as best as he can. That's going to be the Nano Blade coming out. Gets stunned up instantly. Has to use the deflect. Goes forward. Finds Godspeed as Bebe gets taken down. Fleta will come up with a third one. QOQ being the last one to be eliminated by that Dragon Blade ult. Cleanup will come through. The effective team wipe is there.
Yeah,
and they will glide forward.
He got stunned too. It just didn't matter. He ends up, you know, racking up the kills, filling the kill feed. And Hangzhou Spark, they're staggered with Mika now, but and more than that, I mean, this is actually insane.
And they're just chasing for. I mean, this is reminiscent of London.
This is reminiscent of like
66 last time.
This is reminiscent of like Korea versus that like one team that like only played in the World Cup that one time. Like, you know, this is like, this is not even. This doesn't even look like these two players are on the same. Or these two teams are on the same tier, which we know is not true. We know these two teams are actually some of the best teams in the world. But you wouldn't know it if you were watching out for the first time.
I thought Architect was going to get picked off there for another stagger, but it's just furiously pushing up. The Supercharger is going to be dropped in. He'll get finished off. And Lip gets the shot onto Bebe. Still holding it. He gets the hit onto Godspeed as well. This guy is absolutely destroying. Can we just give him... Can he get Rookie of the Year right now?
I mean, he's my vote.
Can I get Rookie of the Year award to Lip, please?
I mean, this fight is
going to be coming through.
Consequential as well. Probably, like... Unfortunately, everyone's split. Like, QOQ used Flux there. There was just no way. There was just no way. There was no way.
Yeah. I don't know why I said Jeff Kaplan. I guess I should have said John Spector. Can we get the Rookie of the Year to him?
This might be the moment where like Jeff Kaplan actually comes out because he's so hyped. He's like, "Yo, have you seen that? Have you seen that Lip guy? I would like to deliver the award personally."
So I know we haven't done Rookie of the Year skins in the past, but I have to make an exception for Lip because he's just so damn good.
Just make a spray for him or something.
I'd allow it.
Come on.
Okay, so they're going for the wraparound play here.
Yeah.
This way, antied for the moment. Lip is pushing up.
Oh!
And, doesn't get the shot. But now he's just going to be in behind them. Gets the dink here onto Gushue. The Bob coming through. Chunking down Fearless, who's primal range, and seems like he can barely manage to exit. Grab comes in. Lip doesn't have line of sight for this, and it's actually getting turned around. Shanghai, with a major overcommitment, will get shut down. So Hangzhou Spark, a good little wrap around, an extended fight, and it does benefit them quite a bit here in the end.
When everything doesn't go exactly to plan for Shanghai Dragons in these scrappy steps they're trying to play for, this is when the cracks start to show. Remember, Lip tried to get that opening kill to Bebe? That was the whole plan. If we kill him, he has no immortality field, and then we can just crush them. But his immortality field was on everyone. And then he got the heals up, and then Shanghai Dragons overextended, like you said, by staying there in that fight. They needed to kill Bebe for that to work, and they just weren't able to.
Dragon Blade through, immortality field doesn't last very long. But takes that down with a second swipe, but won't really be able to find too much else, so swiping it air for the rest of that ult. But getting rid of QOQ is one fewer shield. It's the accretion gone, so it still allows Shanghai Dragons to start pressing forward. They're going to be severely limited as far as the ults are concerned. Trying to build up for that rally, which should be the next one online. But, you know, with Widowmaker in play, if Lip just happens to get one kill, that could be everything completely turned around on its head.
Fleta here gets the pick on the Architect. Left click.
Could just be Fleta who finds it as well. And there's the headshot. Bebe going to be taken down. The immortality field going to be out of the fight. Another headshot as he drops down onto Godsby. Looks for Gushue, but Fleta gets there just a little bit sooner. The Flux is out, but QOQ is dead. Lip is on fire. And the Hangzhou Spark are being pushed into the grave. The casket is shut, and Shanghai Dragons make their way through to the end of Route 66. No one can touch. Gushue barely missing out on that opportunity. But there you have it, 2 minutes and 32 seconds for the Shanghai Dragons. Hangzhou Spark, they drained down the clock considerably. It was a good little start there, especially right at the front of point B, going for that wraparound on the cart. So was a good move and a good call. This time bank certainly could have been a lot more significant for Shanghai had they not done that.
Yeah.
But now they have to have an explosive attack.
They certainly do. It's weird. It's weird because, you know, I feel like some of the great successes we're having. This might be the. Oh, this is the Dragon Blade that was off camera, where he got stunned and then he just turns around, gets a dash reset for the second kill there, and then helps clean. He's like, "Kyoko, I missed. It seems like my second swipe there didn't quite finish you off. Let me just do the third one there, take you out." But it seems to be that Hangzhou Spark finds the most success when Shanghai Dragons overextend or try to do something like crazy, like a cart wrap around there where they weren't able to kill Bebe and the immortality field was good. I think a big mess up here for Shanghai Dragons on a forward hold attempt, right? Where, for example, maybe Godsby gets that opening kill similar to how Lip did onto Architect. Then they get a good start, get those ults online, control the choke, take A fast. I mean, I'm writing the script for like what could happen in a perfect world for Hangzhou Spark, you know? I mean, anything is possible, Achilles, but we'll see.
All right, well, a lot of it's going to hinge on the start of this defense. Cheeky little play to try to find Lee Jae Gun, but he manages to exit. Already a dink coming in from Lip. He's just going to be sitting in the back, goes in for the pop-up shot, doesn't manage to find anybody though. Lee Jae Gun can't get the whip shot to send somebody off the side of the map. He's just going to get right up close and personal, jumps into the train car. Exits again. Doesn't get too much damage done though. Will in fact be Mika taking the lead here for now. Jae Gun moves in, has that immortality field. Gets knocked to the ground by the stun. Architect dashes through, manages to find two, gets the third. Absolutely huge plays here from Architect. This is exactly what they needed. He sees Lip and how low he is. Sees blood, smells blood in the water.
He wants
He's
it.
on the hunt.
I don't think he's going to get it.
Probably not going to.
Nope.
But he got it. So did Godsby. Lip under pressure, getting chased by a Genji and by an Ashe. Doesn't matter. Comes up with the headshots.
Getting it in 2020 feels, you know, feels nostalgic.
I mean, this is going to allow them to push forward. They don't have the Genji who's poking out.
The DPS is gone. Means
they can't move up.
Yeah, they just have to sit back and wait. Godsby's going to swap over to Widow to try to challenge. And oh no.
Okay. Yep. But it takes out Architect.
That's such a good start
Fleta somehow has a bleed before Architect, by the way, though. Even though Architect comes up with like 4 kills in that initial fight, Fleta has just been farming his career off, we'll say. Sure. Lip trying to duke it out, pops that in for sight. Moves up here onto the high ground. Starts looking for his next target.
Void is going to have
a
Flux soon, so they can actually bait out Immortality Field and set up for an insane blade here. Gonna Blade first.
Blade comes in, Flat falling low. Good focus fire is there. Show him just to find the kill. Flux gonna be coming through from both of our Sigmas. Void melted lower and lower, but finishes off QOQ, and the healing comes through to keep him sustained. Architect, however, in the back line, manages to get rid of Lip. Leading pushing forward. Would love to have that shield bash here on Architect as he draws out the Dragon Blade, but Architect, he's just having a field day right now. Cleans up 4 kills, looks for a little bit more, and Hangzhou Spark seems like they will be able to secure A off this one. Shanghai Dragons, no way that they would try to push in and try and contest here.
Yeah, it was really nice.
No one's even close.
They defensively from Hangzhou Spark just kind of survived through Flooded Blade, which didn't find as much success as they were hoping for. Immortality Field's traded. You see Void come out with his Flux first, but QOQ comes in with the Blade, follow up there. Architect, they use their cooldown the second they use their ultimates in, defensively and in response to what Shanghai's aggressive opening was, and because Shanghai didn't get the kills that they needed to, the secondary ults obviously are going to be better in this case. Nice follow-up from Architect, and now Hangzhou's got a chance, finally for the first time.
All together, good accretion. Flips onto a couple people. Try to utilize the supercharger. Little body shot there from Godsby on the Fleta, takes him low, and Fearless does fall. He can trade it out. Godsby goes on a little short hop, tries to get the line up there onto Fleta, but decides to just continue looking forward. Isn't too concerned about the half HP Genji at the moment, but 2 kills coming in. So things are still very much dangerous for the Hangzhou Spark. Fleta dashing in 6 HP, gets the deflect headshot kill on the Godsby to finish him off as Lip finds 2 more.
I mean, Fleta has no fear. Almost no one would actually have committed in that situation, especially because Godsby tracked him from the beginning. He knew exactly where he was. He was actually already super low on health before he went down to like 6 health. And Fleta still just went for it. That's the Fleta deadlift. I mean, he's not deadlifting in this series, obviously, but
definitely that's Lip, actually.
Yeah, but the idea is the same. Is like he has no fear. He will actually do anything. He'll try to be the best case outcome no matter what, even if it means he might die in the process. But not in this case. So that's how that was a very different situation.
Yeah, a lot of pressure alleviated there, but they need to get the cart moving all the same. It's still rolling back at the moment. QQ nearly with the Flux might be what they try to utilize here to start pushing forward. But a falling low is kept alive as the rallies come through from Mika and Lee Jae gone. Flux out from QOQ. Void going to be taken down with Fleta into the back line. Manages to eliminate Godsby, and now it's a nice back angle here onto Architect, but can't get the shots lined up to try to punish the enemy Genji. Seems like Architect might just be able to farm up for this Dragon Blade. Push Fearless down into the middle, into the center of the Hangzhou Spark members. They do manage to find that elimination, but it's just so scrappy. They've been fighting around this gate, around this card for what feels like an eternity, and finally the Hangzhou Spark managed to get an advantage.
Yeah.
Because of their faster runbacks, because of the distance that Shanghai has to close to try to keep this fight going. They start moving forward, but it's with a minute and 38 seconds here as they start rounding this long corner.
Shanghai's and Fleta were just playing for the stall for time, and obviously trying to get everyone out of this choke point here where they're about to emerge from. Because of Fleta's stall, and because the cart was slowed there, they actually do get to spill out of this choke point and take, a pretty fair fight. Not anymore, Fearless down.
Got one less barrier, now Fleta cut down as well. Architect not needing to use the Dragon Blade, holding on to that for the final stretch is absolutely huge for him.
Yeah, so time bank
2.5 minutes here.
With the stall, Hangzhou Spark cannot have a better time. But I mean, on Escort, sometimes that doesn't matter, especially with how these crazy A holds either work or don't. So, I mean, it's not the end of the world for Hangzhou Spark here. And they're actually in a pretty decent spot here if they can shut down Fleta's Blade, which is holding for so long. They're doing the wraparound again.
Yeah, wraparound's there, supercharger thrown down. Barrier's getting broken, but Architect wrapping around to the wraparound, but they're ready for it. Void cuts him down to size. Will be an exchange, however, on the Genjis as Godsby gets a very nice headshot onto Fleta. Fight very chaotic as the Flux comes in from QOQ, and Void will get taken down. Still holds the Flux of his own for the recontest, though. A nice breakthrough push for the Hangzhou Spark as they start moving into the garage.
Yeah, and the Hangzhou, they had to use the Gravitic Flux there, but, otherwise pretty efficient. The problem is Shanghai's got 5 ultimates online. Fleta still holds that blade, and this time Shanghai isn't going to try to do anything tricky. They're not going to be wrapping around. They're not going to put themselves in Godsby's line of sight. Godsby does have the ultimate available here, but let's see how Shanghai tries to defend.
Blades out from both Genjis. Immortality Field going to be taken out for the Shanghai Dragons. Very much the Hangzhou Spark coming out on top of the fight. Fleta unable to find anything with his ult. Shuriken's being tossed in front of with a sliver of HP. Hides in the corner. They can't get him. His knee's not sticking out. They so desperately want to kill him, but Architect just cannot make it happen.
And he survives.
He was zoned back for a little bit longer, but he does manage to get topped up.
Fearless
swapping now over onto the Reinhardt. Making their way out. It's going to be the Ant Matrix here from Luffy. Lip in the back, forced to recall. Takes Architect low, wants the kill. He's trying to chase him down, but the heals come through from the rest of the Spark.
They're stabilizing here, the Shanghai
Heal
Dragons.
back away from the cart, though. Architect finds Lip. And that's going to be them continuing now to press forward as they get that pick off. Fearless down to half HP. Flutter finds Godsby. Architect dashes through, finds AJ Gun. Fearless now going to be taken down. Architect finding two, looking for a third. He will find it as Void falls. But a dash is in, but it's to his death. And there's 2.35 meters separating now the Hangzhou Spark from the finish of this map. They have cleared off the Shanghai Dragons. Just the final kill here on the Lip. Should just do the trick. Dragon Blade comes through from Architect to seal the deal. They get the stun. They push Fearless away as best as possible with that accretion. As Void will swap back over into the Diva. But one after the other as they string through, it will just be death the Shanghai Dragons are met with. They're just trying to drain as much time as humanly possible to really limit the Hangzhou Spark and bump up the time bank here for the Shanghai Dragons in the OT rounds. Pile driver in from Fearless. He'll start rolling around in a circle, but the shield bash comes through. He'll get finished off, and they finally will glide in to have a minute in the time bank to the 3:28 of the Shanghai Dragons.
They're still alive. They still have a chance here, Hangzhou Spark. And like I was saying, I mean, anything can happen on these defensive holds. Like, if Hangzhou's able to get a crazy team wipe, you know, something happens where Architect on the defense gets that forward aggressive setup, gets a few dash resets, gets a fast Dragon Blade, and shuts Shanghai down twice, for example, on their defense. I mean, there's a world where we were going to have a really short push for Shanghai, and then with their 1 minute time bank, they're able to push through. Or, you know, it's obviously going to happen the opposite order, but you know what I mean. It's a lot of ifs, right? It's a lot of maybes, and it's a lot of what ifs about how this could happen or how this could go badly for Shanghai Dragons, for example, on their forward hold. Be a same situation. You know, I was talking about Architect on the defense, but on the attack, if Shanghai overextends, this is a super high variance strategy we're seeing right now. It either goes extremely well or extremely poorly. We're seeing it all through APAC, or all through recent APAC, I should say. And if this goes poorly for Shanghai, a 1 minute time bank can get quite a large distance, and the opposite could be true, where if it goes really well for Hangzhou on their defense, they could turn it around. I mean, this is not over by any means, but yes, the cards are stacked against Hangzhou. This has to be the beginning of a huge comeback right here, right now.
They have to shatter this defense immediately, the Shanghai Dragons. So there's the halt, the pull off. DJ Gon again going to be displaced. Godsby starts inching forward. Trying to find some shots. So we'll just be going for the shields for now.
He wants a bash.
Waiting for his moment. Shield broken down. Gushwin falling low. Immortality Field's going to be used to try to keep him alive. Flip shot not going to be sending anybody off the side of the map. But DJ Gon getting a lot of cleave damage and will manage to break down that Orisa at the end. As QOQ gets stunned up, dropped down, and will be staggered here at the end. Hangzhou Spark have to wait for his 6 now. See them pulling back into the diner to try to stay alive. Godsby under fire, but the armor packs come through to go ahead and keep him alive. Pulling on the Void, throws out that barrier. Kinetic Grasp going to be used as well, but Godsby finds an opening pick, taking down Lip, alleviating a lot of pressure, allowing for them to poke their heads out from around these train cars. Clock falling low, however. They have to get themselves on this cart. They have to get things moving. But falling low. The primary fire from Godsby takes him down, and Architect dashes through for the kill. Follow-up shot. Fearless and Lumpy both going to disappear. Godsby coming online now. Gets a hit on the Void. The cart will finally start rolling.
They got one.
Shanghai Dragons can recontest. They're going to have a flux for this fight.
They've got one fight, or they've got one lost fight, right? They've got one life on this cart. Any lost fight is the end of the push. And like you said, the Void Flux absolutely can just yoink them off the cart. They're going to be ready for that eventuality, though. They're going to have somebody standing nearby. Can't be Flux to touch to guarantee that doesn't actually
Gushwin can fortify out of it.
Especially with Jagon now taken out. I mean, this is a really good situation here for the Hangzhou Spark. They have vision.
Really huge pick. Architect playing forward up along the canyon ridge, trying to farm up, trying to just make sure that the Shanghai Dragons cannot push up.
They just have to wait.
Cannot contest this card.
Shanghai just have to wait. They can't fight this until they get that respawn coming through. DJ Gon's on his way back right now. This is free push. This is what I'm talking
about. The lower left side. They're going to move their way out now. They start contesting the cart. 4 meters left to go. They get pulled away. Cart rolls into A. Architect finds Luffy. Flex committed there from QOQ. allows them to at least get this. Let's see how much further they can go, though.
Look at them zone
Blade
Void
Flux
out.
combo going to be online. The rally is going to have to try to keep everybody sustained through that damage.
If anybody overextends for Shanghai Dragons, if they get another pick just because Shanghai overextends for just a moment trying to get to that cart, trying to minimize that distance, then the cart just goes further and further and further. The momentum is so in favor of the Hangzhou Spark right now. Architect missing the blade, that's actually very unfortunate. He's 30% away, 25% away now. But once he gets that, they can actually look for an aggressive fight here too against the Dragons.
Supercharger in first. Immortality Field has to be used off the bat. You can see that won't get finished. The Flux comes down and Guangzhou manages to find Fearless, baby. Eliminates Fleta and Architect gets Luffy. Absolutely huge moves now from the Hangzhou Spark, who suddenly have a fighting chance. They are going the distance right now here on Route 66, staying alive, not going down without a fight.
Anything can happen in these overtime rounds on Escort. You know, it's not like Hybrid, it's not like Assault, where those A takes are so difficult. All you need is one fight, then you get the momentum, you get the ult advantage, you start pushing through and winning multiple fights, and suddenly 1 minute of time it doesn't matter, because the time is infinite as long as they stay on this cart with the overtime. Lip's gonna go ahead and pop ult here. Fleta might look for that Dragon Blade engage. Mika's staying on the cart right now. Here's the drop down. Blades out first for Architect.
Dragon Blade out from Architect first. Will get pulled up way into the air. Drops down now. Multiple members. Tries to go for the Supercharger. Lip finds the better of Godsby. Getting rid of the enemy Widow. Now follows up. Mika taken down. Lip is sitting here on this low ground. Architect spots him. Goes in to try to finish him off, but he's just so down below that Lip can go ahead and clip him. And that will be it. The OT going to bleed away as they finish off Bebe. But a damn good push for the Hangzhou Spark, nearly making it to point B.
Now is the time for the ultimate hold. This is the time where you see Hangzhou Spark bring themselves into this series or die, and the finals ends right now. It's do or die. Has to be a very long, calculated hold. Ult economy always has to be in their favor. This is, I think, a moment where someone like Chengdu would not run the meta comp. I don't know if Hangzhou is going to be the team to be brave enough to do that. They usually just run stock standard. But this is a situation where I wouldn't mind seeing Godsby roll out on the Sombra. Try to get that EMP lead, get a hack, get a kill that way. Start things off with a, ult economy advantage. It's not going to be that change. It's not going to be the Sombra, but it will be the May actually coming out. So looking for Blizzard efficiency here. Just trying to slow the Shanghai Dragons down to that same overtime situation with all they need is one team fight or one lucky Flux that can end it all. And I like this. I mean, I think if you play stock standard here, you're just putting yourself at risk of losing that mirror matchup against the Dragons and just losing out.
This very much hinges on Architect, though. If he gets picked off, then it is catastrophic for the Hangzhou Spark. He'll likely have to swap over onto something like, the Tracer to rejoin into the fight a bit faster. We'll see what happens and if they can pull this off. 3 minutes and 28 seconds, the time to beat. And they closed a lot of distance themselves, so this is absolutely possible for the Spark.
Shanghai, meanwhile, also taking that same Sombra idea to heart, looking for EMPs to contest A, to finish A, rather.
Moves out of stealth. Somebody's got to save Godspeed, but the collapse is there from Fleta as well. They take him down, and now they press forward onto the rest of the team. QOQ under fire. Immortality Field keeps him alive for a little bit longer. The accretion not going to hit Lip. Guangzhou does manage to find Void, but now Mika is going to fall. There's a Bionade on the 3 members, and Hangzhou Spark will get eliminated here. Time, though, to recontest before point A.
Yeah, there is time. But the scary part is that EMP fight for A, where it's almost impossible for Hangzhou to shut that down, even with a good Immortality Field to try to counter it. I mean, that's really just wishful thinking. So, if they could stall this on A, even if they lose the fight, set up for a nice defense of the finish point. Before B, obviously, where the victory box, let's just say. They can slow it down. Maybe they can get that Blizzard fight they're looking for. The Architect is not swapping. He wants that Blizzard fight. It's not going to be this fight. It's not there yet.
EMP online. Good avoid on the accretion there from Lip. Shots coming down. Flashbang is in. But going to be eliminated. Good collapse coming through. But the EMP catches all 6 members of the Hangzhou Spark. It's going to be absolutely devastating for them. You see the kills start to come through now. 4 members still going to be alive, Architect included. Mortality Field buys them a bit more time here, but Bebe will be taken down in the end, and Guangzhou doesn't really have anywhere to go. They farm up some ultimates to the Hangzhou Spark, but it seems like Shanghai Dragons will go ahead and be able to push forward into point A.
They stalled, they got the Blizzard, they got the EMP out of Shanghai Dragons. They have so many ults to shut down Fleta. I mean, they can use Immortality Field to help shut down his Blade. They can Flux once QQ has that last percentage. There's a window, obviously, where Fleta could do that first, but there are tools to shut down the Blade. And if they could buy time and look for that Blizzard fight, again, the perfect Blizzard fight to stop the cart in overtime, and that's their win condition. If you have to use the Blizzard here, they're not going to get another chance of that. So, I mean, that's
really
a big trade-off.
Yeah. It was really, really close to Architect getting split spawn there as well. Crucially, he does not.
They're wrapping around.
Wrap around through the canyon. Yeah, they're dropping down. They want to put a splitters right here. Nanoblade comes out of the Fleta. Her swipe finds Godspeed, looking for a little bit more. Has to press up into the Blizzard. Doesn't last long enough to freeze him. He'll come up with 2 kills. QOQ now eliminated. Architect dead on the back end, and this will just be the extended team wipe coming through. 58 seconds remaining for the Shanghai Dragons. They start moving up through the choke.
I think that might just be the game. I mean, that might just be the moment that costs the.
They only have a supercharger.
I mean, like, as they Blizzard here, Shanghai could just step away from the cart, avoid it, then follow up Blade, right? If you do it in overtime, you don't have that luxury, but they wanted to go for a team wipe. They wanted to control the choke. They played for the choke control instead of the overtime finish blocking, and now they're in real big trouble.
Cheeky positioning there from Blip to try to get the hack. Still looking for it, but does get forced back, and see Architect actually ready and waiting for him, but cannot finish him off. EMP getting ready to be online. The Graviton Surge is there as well for Void. It falls low, dips down into the garage, stays safe. Starts pressing forward yet again. Needs to be spy checked right now, but it does not happen. EMP comes down, manages to find 3, and QOQ instantly gets destroyed. Graviton Surge comes out, but only finds Gushue. But will manage to take him down, deflecting the Deadeye in. Void will fall. OT starts to tick in. Mika eliminated. Bebe trying desperately to retreat, but somebody's got to stay on the cart, and that's going to be Architect's job for the moment. Falls low, stunned up. Nearly has the pulse bomb online. You can see Godspeed now swapping over onto the Reaper, but can he get there in time?
I think they will get a touch. They have to be careful. There's going to be a shield bash trying to push him away.
Gushue and QOQ roll their way through. The cart still advancing. Gushue playing up on top. Can keep things contested, but has to peel back as the hack comes in. QOQ is taking a nap. The Dragon Blade rolls through. QQ wakes up just in time, but everybody is there. They absolutely destroy him. The Pulse Bomb comes out too soon, and the Shanghai Dragons will be able to roll through. Unfortunately, for the Hangzhou Spark, this will not turn into a Cinderella story. This will not turn into a reverse sweep, nor even a map win. Shanghai Dragons assert themselves as the best team in the APAC region, potentially the best in the world in the Overwatch League, as they shut them down 4-0.
And you could see the reactions in the team house with Coach Moon. And it just looks like another day of work. The rest of the subs, DM, Gregory, all filing into the room. But this is not the victory moment where you see leaps of joy. This is not, I think, a shock to most at this point in time, right? Shanghai Dragons, this was just a steamroll, a 4-0 that we predicted, that I think most analysts would have predicted given the lead up to the finals and the power levels of these two teams right now. It was a one-sided finals for sure. And I think that for some people, that's the worst kind of finals. I think I'd go as far as to say I think for most people that's the worst kind of finals. Sure. But I think what we really got to see, I think what I enjoyed to see is just how dominant Shanghai could be, how close to perfect. Like no team will ever be perfect, but how close they get at times. It's I mean, it's jaw-dropping. Jaw-dropping. Some of these team fights where Hangzhou Spark is perfect setup, right? They have the numbers advantage, and they can't finish off because Shanghai is just they're pushing the boundaries of what is possible at the highest level of play. I know. I've had some disagreements with Sideshow about this significantly recently, even sometimes on Twitter. But I look at this team as the best team in the world. I've watched both regions. I know he does as well, and it's a difference of opinion, I think. But I think this team is the team that's going to lift the Overwatch League Grand Finals trophy. They've been the most dominant team in regular season. I mean, we have to start thinking about this team as like, okay, it's NA versus Shanghai. It's not NA versus APAC in the finals. It's going to be Shanghai. I mean, just from what we've seen so far, it looks like that's where we're set up. We're not there yet, but I think that's the storyline people should have in their minds as we get closer and closer to grand finals right now. It's Shanghai versus the world. The rest of the world, can they stand up to this monster of a team? That's the big question.
And I actually kind of like, obviously it's frustrating to not have the APAC region and NA play against each other, until the playoffs, until, potentially when the grand finals come in and whatnot. Maybe that's where we get that big matchup of the Shanghai Dragons versus the San Francisco Shock. But I actually really like that tension, that build-up. Last year was so cool because we got to see Vancouver Titans clash with Shock repeatedly, and they were always at each other's throats, very, very close until that grand final, and that's when things kind of fell apart and it lost its magic. This has that constant tension building between these two teams. It's like, Rocky versus Apollo Creed, and you're waiting for that Titanic clash to finally come through at the end of the season, and it seems like with every victory for the Shanghai Dragons, with every victory for the San Francisco Shock, it seems almost more and more assured that those are going to be the two teams standing in that grand final, barring any crazy shenanigans, crazy upsets that could happen.
Yeah, it does feel that way, doesn't it? It really does.
Yeah.
And
but one of the guys,
go ahead.
We got to talk about this, though. One of the guys who is helping the Shanghai Dragons potentially achieve that dream scenario is Lip. He is our player of the match presented by Xfinity. This guy just absolutely destroyed people left, right, and center the entire series through.
He stole the show tonight, for sure. He's often, I think, overshadowed by Fleta. To a lot of people who watch APAC occasionally. There's probably some people who are watching tonight who know it's the final, so yeah, I will say him for this one. And a lot of those people are probably like, wow, this is terrible. I can't believe they stayed up for this. But it was actually a really fun series to watch against Shanghai Dragons. I think a lot of those people, because Fleta's the bigger name, he's the MVP candidate. A lot of people don't look at Lip as closely, they don't appreciate how much he's accomplished so far this season.
Sure.
Yeah, I think this series, he ran away with it. His Widow and Ashe play phenomenal. His control of sightlines. Godsby had a few moments, right? A few moments, but overall,
he started taking him down. But
overall, it was just total control for Lip, though. And he plays in a phenomenal Sombra, which ends up being, part of the reason why they roll the card in. Good EMPs coming through. Phenomenal plays on the Sombra on Numbani, for example. The list goes on and on, but I want the takeaway for this finals for most people to be fear Shanghai, not that, wow, I can't believe Hangzhou didn't even stand a chance tonight. It wasn't even fun.
Yeah.
You should be afraid. You should be terrified. If Shanghai Dragons is not your favorite team, you should be worried that your favorite team isn't going to be holding that trophy at the end of the year. Whether you're an NA fan, you're an APAC fan, whether you've been an Apex fan forever, and you're a big fan of Seoul Dynasty, you should be afraid that this team is going to crush your dreams. This team is going to take the trophy away from you. Shanghai Dragons, the worst team in 2018, took a stage title in 2019, but this time it looks like they are ready to take the whole trophy.
Yeah, I mean, and such big leaps there. Going from absolutely bottom tier, worst team in the league, get a stage championship, start looking more competitive, potentially can just win the whole thing. It's just been a wonderful road here for the Shanghai Dragons, and obviously you and I can't wait to continue watching this, to see where they end up, to see how the playoffs and the postseason is going to go, because if we can get that clash, maybe if somebody even usurps the San Francisco Shock, no matter who is in that final, if they're against the Shanghai Dragons, it is going to be an absolutely crazy series, and maybe one of the best ones in Overwatch League history. I'm hoping that I'm not jinxing this for the future, because obviously, we've had some 4-0 finals in the grand finals.
Hey, look, it's our jobs to say what, but ideally, what likely will happen, right? That's why before this series happened, I gave you guys a disclaimer. I said I'm going to have to be honest. This series is probably going to be a 4-0 stomp. I said that. Here we are. But sometimes, as commentators, you've got to be honest. And I think that's what people want to see right now, and I think that is the most likely outcome. And I think that's what people want, and they might get what they want. We might have that.
I think that we will. I think we might get it, Wolf.
I think we
might finally get it. So, time will tell. That's still a little ways away, but that does it here for the Countdown Cup in the APAC region. North America is going to be starting in just a little bit, not too far off. Yeah. It's an earlier start today, so make sure you guys check out OverwatchLeague.com and make sure you're all up to date on the schedules, because I don't even know it off the top of my head. I was too busy getting ready for this one here. But always a pleasure to bring you guys the action. Unfortunately, it wasn't a longer, more close series there, but Hangzhou started looking alive at the end. Hopefully they can chin up, get back into it, and try to make a run there for the playoffs. But that's going to do it from us here tonight. So thank you to our production staff for staying up late with us, as always. Thank you to Jake and ZP for introing it with the semifinal games here. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.